They always said I was the quiet one. The invisible one. The one who never quite made enough noise to matter. But silence isn't weakness. It's storage. Every humiliation, every comparison, every forced smile, it all piles up in the dark until one day, it catches fire. Every summer, my parents hosted their flawless little performance. The Whitfield Garden Gala. Same golden lights, same polished laughter, same perfect people repeating the same conversations about their perfect lives. And at the center of it all was Eleanor, my older sister. The golden child. The sun I was told to orbit. She moved through that crowd like she was born with music playing just for her. Every handshake turned into admiration. Every compliment landed like scripture. Dr. Eleanor Whitfield, people would say, as if the title itself deserved a standing ovation. And me? I was the other one. Lena. The quiet footnote. The girl people smiled at politely before turning back to the main seat at AT family dinners. They'd pass Eleanor the praise and pass me the dishes. That night, I stood near the bar, holding a glass I didn't drink from, smiling like I'd been programmed to. So, Lena, Uncle Robert said, his voice thick with wine and pity, what are you doing these days? I work at Northvale University, I replied. Oh. Teaching? No, administration. He nodded with that same vacant look he always gave me, like he was looking through me at something more interesting behind my shoulder. Then his attention snapped right back to Eleanor. Because of course it did. Eleanor was surrounded by admirers again. She'd just come back from a conference in Berlin, apparently. They asked me to keynote next year, she said, laughing modestly, like the spotlight embarrassed her. My mother beamed. We always knew you'd change the world, darling. My father raised his glass. To brilliance that runs in the family. Everyone laughed. Everyone but me. I caught Eleanor's glance across the table. Cool, composed, surgical. Lena works at the university too, she said with a smirk. She's keeping the paperwork from collapsing, I suppose. The laughter that followed was like a slow knife. I smiled, pretending it didn't sting. I'd gotten good at that, but the thing about being underestimated is, it gives you room to move. I'd built something in silence, something none of them had ever thought to ask about. Later that night, when the candles burned low and the guests started leaving, my mother found me in the kitchen. Don't let her bother you, she said softly. She doesn't bother me, I lied. She just wants the best for you. Does she? You could be more like her, you know, she continued. You're smart. You just don't push yourself. I smiled and said nothing. Because how could I explain that I'd been pushing my whole life, just not in a direction she could see? The next afternoon, we had the family brunch, the real performance. Crystal mimosas, buttered compliments, gossip dressed as small talk. Eleanor arrived late, as always, because perfection needs an entrance. Sorry, she said, sliding into her seat. Was on a call with the provost about my tenure. Already decided, I assume, my father teased. She grinned. Naturally. Everyone clapped. I watched her bask in that applause, my hands still, my smile calm, and then, right as the laughter softened, her phone buzzed. She glanced at it. The color drained from her face. The room went still. What's wrong? My mother asked. Eleanor's voice cracked. My tenure was denied. The silence that followed wasn't polite. It was disbelief. That's impossible, my father said. You said it was guaranteed. It was, Eleanor hissed, scrolling frantically through the email. It says, denied due to concerns about collegial conduct. What does that even mean? I looked up from my plate. It means how you treat people matters. She turned toward me slowly. How would you know? My phone buzzed too. I took it out and looked at the screen. I got the same email. I said, why would you? She started, then froze. I turned my phone so everyone could see. Dr. Helena Cross, Chair, Board of Trustees, Northvale University. Eleanor's fork clattered onto her plate. You're the chair, she whispered. For 3 years now, I said. The air was so thick you could hear hearts breaking through the silence. Why father spoke first. You said you worked in administration. I do, I said calmly. The board is administration. Eleanor's eyes burned through me. You denied me. The board did, I said. Based on the evidence. What evidence? 17 formal complaints, I said evenly. Staff. Students. Colleagues. You've belittled, mocked, humiliated. You called interns dust. You made research assistants cry. That's ridiculous. I leaned forward. Do you know what the worst part is? Half those people came to me for help, and I had to recuse myself because of conflict of interest. She was trembling now. You could have warned me. I did. Every time I told you to treat people better, you laughed. Every time I said kindness mattered, you called it weakness. Her breath caught. You think you're better than me? I shook my head. No. I just stopped pretending I was less. For once, she had no comeback. The silence wasn't victory, it was freedom. Why parents sat there, staring at me like I'd grown another face. Maybe I had. Maybe they were finally seeing the one that had been there all along. That I stood up, placed my napkin on the table, and looked at Eleanor one last time. You taught me something, you know, I said softly. That recognition doesn't mean respect. And respect doesn't come from titles. It comes from how you make people feel when no one's watching. As I walked out, I could feel the eyes behind me, heavy with 1,000 unspoken realizations. Outside, the world smelled of rain and cut grass. The sky was gray, soft, and clean. I took a deep breath. For 30 years, I was told I lived in her shadow. But maybe it wasn't a shadow at all. Maybe it was just shade, temporary protection until I was strong enough to step into the sun. People say family knows you best, but maybe that's the biggest lie of all, because sometimes, the people who raised you can't even recognize you when you finally become who you were meant to be. And when that day comes, when you finally stop asking for permission to exist, you don't need their applause, just peace.